Welcome, everyone, to What to Watch Live, the show where we discuss the best in TV and entertainment this week. My name is David, and today I am joined by my fellow Xfinity editors, Liz and Scott. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. How is everyone doing today?
Just lovely.
Feeling the fantasy, David. You know, it's a Friday. We're running a little behind. It's okay. We're doing it.
That's all right. Thanks for hanging. If you're out there watching, thanks for hanging with us. A little bit late today, but that's okay. You know, these things happen. But we have a really great show for you. On today's show, we will help you catch up on this year's Oscar nominees. We take a warp tunnel into the world of video game TV, support our favorite states in the American Song Contest, and help you plan your TV watch list for the week ahead. But first, as always, we kick things off within the news. Warner Brothers and director Matt Reeves shocked Bat fans everywhere by releasing the movie's most talked about deleted scene for free. And in this clip, Robert Pattinson's Batman visits Arkham to enlist a little help in his hunt for the Riddler, and the man he turns to is none other than the Clown Prince himself, the Joker, played in terrifying fashion by actor Barry Keoghan. Let's take a quick look at part of this scene.
Have you read this file? You two have so much in common. Masked Avengers. So he's even more righteous. Are you afraid he makes you look soft? You're wasting my time. Okay. I'll tell you what I really think. I think you don't really care about his motives, whether he loves or hates you. I think somewhere deep down, you're just terrified. Because you're not sure he's wrong, huh? You think they deserved it, huh? You think they deserved it.
So, if you've seen The Batman, you'll know that Barry Keoghan does actually briefly appear as Joker, but his face and his identity, or what character he's playing, are mostly concealed. Even the credits list Keoghan only as unseen Arkham prisoner, but director Matt Reeves has been far from secretive about this cameo, telling Variety, "You're right, it's the Joker," and confirmed the existence of this deleted scene. So fans knew it was out there, but I don't think anyone expected he would release it on Twitter and YouTube as opposed to putting it into a new cut or releasing it on VOD or DVD or something like that. So it's pretty cool. It's rare we get a scene like this while the film is still in theaters. I don't know if I think you guys got a chance to check it out. What are your thoughts on this version of the Joker?
You want to go first, Liz?
I don't have much to add. Right, I haven't seen the new version yet, but I can tell you that I'm excited to go and see it. I'm looking forward to a new Batman. I mean, how many Batmans can we really have? But
there's never enough Batmans.
Right, but I feel like we haven't had a good one in a while. And so, like, I'm excited to see this. I don't know how good Robert, is at playing Batman, so we'll see. But, yeah, I'm excited to go see it. So I can't wait to hear what Scott has to say.
Well, I mean, you guys already know where I'm going to take this. How do we feel about how this Joker is looking? Like, that's a choice of a vibe. You need some lotion, obviously, and maybe a little snip of the hair, but like, I prefer the clean cut Joker. That one's like coiffed green hair, slick purple suit, and that gorgeous flower. Like, you never know what's hiding behind it, but it's a gorgeous flower. But yeah, I mean,
Filled
to me,
with acid.
I think, well, the most
It's
beautiful
like the
things
work
are dating
from
the most
home.
dangerous, right?
Yeah, like the work from home version of the Joker, right? Like all of us would come to work all dolled up and then on Zoom.
Amazing.
This is like the work from home version of Joker.
That's how they should have credited
Brilliant.
it. Like, pandemic
Work
Joker.
from home Joker.
The pandemic Joker. Yeah.
So
for sure.
It's really interesting. In an interview that Matt Reeves did with Variety, he said that even though he purposely hid much of the Joker's face, he did work with a makeup artist to fully build out the Joker's final look, like what he will look like in his final state. And then they backed it off into this like version 1 of Joker before he becomes, the iconic, if he wears a purple suit, I don't know. But like, this is that stage of Joker. And he also said that this version didn't fall into a vat of chemicals like Jack Nicholson's version, or he didn't give himself the scars the way Heath Ledger did. This is a guy who has had this look since birth. It's a congenital disease where he can't stop smiling. And so his skin condition and all of that is part of the way he was born. And it's very much...
I take back everything I said earlier. I don't want to get canceled. I didn't know.
He's not a real person, Scott.
Well, look, you can never be too careful, honestly.
It's true.
But also, you said like his final form. What is he, a Pokemon? What is his final form? Like,
the crown prince, with if he does wear a suit or if he paints that mouth, and all of that, like his final villain form as we know the Joker. I don't know. That I just read the interview. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see if this Joker comes back in a new movie. Like Matt Reeves specifically said, don't necessarily expect that he will be a villain in a future movie or get his own movie. But I think if he's thinking far enough ahead to figure out what the final look is, that it's a good possibility. And everyone's going to want.
Like, also, why would you tease this out if you weren't planning on doing some sort of?
Right. People just knew about this clip, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the deleted scene that everyone's talking about before it came out.
Right.
Because they knew it was deleted. Still got some questions there, David, but it's fine. It's fine.
I think they should there's other stuff they could have cut out and still put this in the movie. I don't know, but...
You've seen the movie. Is the addition of this scene, like, does it bring something to the film?
That's a good question. I would say that I think it actually, in a weird way, like kind of, he's going to Joker for help in capturing Riddler. And I think in a weird way, it almost, we're supposed to believe Batman's skills as a detective and to look for the clues and hunt down all of this stuff on his own. And I think, like, granted, it's kind of like a mind hunter situation where he's going and like using this other criminal to try and track down Riddler. It makes him look maybe like less of a good detective because he needs so much help. So I kind of like the fact that he didn't seek out this other help and just did the work himself, even though now we know that he didn't.
Jodie Foster needed help. So like, why can't Batman need help?
And he does have his help with Commissioner Gordon, and he tracks down some other people.
Commissioner Gordon.
He's not even commissioner yet in this movie.
Commissioner's not even a real job.
You were worried about getting canceled before.
Wait, is a commissioner a real job? I just remember watching Blank Man and him going into the thing and him saying he wanted to speak to the commissioner, and they all just laughed at it.
No, commissioner's a real thing.
Oh, well, okay. Look, every day you learn something new.
All right. Well, on that note, that's not the only news this week. Apple TV Plus is now available to Xfinity customers on X1 and Flex. You can now watch all of your favorite Apple TV originals like Ted Lasso, The Morning Show, Servant, C, For All Mankind, Dickinson, and the new series We Crashed just by saying Apple TV Plus into your voice remote. And if you don't know where to start, I'd love to suggest one of this year's awards season underdogs and Oscar nominees, a movie called Coda, which is an Apple TV original. I've been plugging this movie extensively. Everyone's sick of me talking about it, and I'm going to do it in another couple minutes. So you will not be disappointed. Speaking of which, it's time to roll out the red carpet and tell Ryan Seacrest who we're wearing in a segment called Collections Corner. Hollywood's biggest night is almost here. The 94th Annual Academy Awards, aka the Oscars, airs this Sunday night, March 27th on ABC. And if you haven't quite caught up on all of this year's nominated films, don't worry, we've got you covered. Just say Oscars into your voice remote to access our curated collection of celebrated cinema, beginning first with 2022 nominees like Licorice Pizza, Dune, Encanto, and West Side Story. So if you click that tile at the top of this destination, you can explore the nominated films in each category, including Best Picture, Best Actress, and Best Actor, all the way down to categories like Best Sound, Best Visual Effects, Best Hair and Makeup, and Best Original Song. The Oscars destination also features a collection of Oscar movies that are free to you, included with your services, and a curation of 2022 Oscar nominees on each streaming service. So if you're wondering, where can I watch nominated films like Drive My Car or King Richard, this collection will show you that they are currently available on HBO Max. And you can see which Oscar nominees are on Hulu and Prime Video and Disney Plus and Netflix, because Netflix has a ton of them. So really, really helpful, easy way for you to find everything you're looking for. And if that isn't enough for you, or you've already watched all of this year's nominated films, the Oscars collection also features rows of past winners in 10 different categories. So you can, as Scott would say, live your Oscars fantasy. And so, Liz and Scott, this year's most nominated films are The Power of the Dog with 12 nominations, Dune with 10, Belfast and West Side Story with 7 each, King Richard with 6, and Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, and Nightmare Alley with 4 each. Are there any films you're hoping win big this Sunday night? Liz, I'm going to start with you.
Oh gosh, I don't have a favorite film. Is that horrible? Like, I don't necessarily this year. I'm more excited about, if I could sort of like pivot, and Scott, you could talk about yours, but I'm most excited to see, we don't talk about Bruno being performed. I cannot wait to see that, to hear it, to, just all the things about that. So, yeah, I mean, Encanto being the favorite film, but I know that it wouldn't, but I wish it could. But Scott, what about you?
Oh wait, before we jump into Scott real
sorry.
quick, because Liz, we had this conversation about Encanto, and we don't talk about Bruno. And I had told you that I was at like Target and saw a child singing it up and down the aisles, and I was like, I don't have kids. I mean, I still love Disney and Pixar movies and animated films, but I haven't seen this one, and I know like kids are really obsessed with this song, and I don't get it. But you gave me like a really great explanation of what this song is all about for other people here who haven't seen it. I'd love to hear about that again.
Yeah, okay. So I think what is most exciting about this film, and if you haven't seen it, please go out. It's not just for kids, right? I think most adults are being forced to watch it, but then watch it on their own accord as they've watched it multiple times. But I think for us, as a Latino family, I think what was most, important about the film is that this is a younger girl who did not get the powers that that usually come down from her family, and they get handed down to the youngest members of the family, and she didn't have this seen superpower. And I think what is really great about the film is that it is showing the younger generation really not just conforming to things just because that's how they've always been, or not accepting people the way that they are when they are toxic and or hurtful. And it happens within our own families. So I think it's a whole lot deeper than just obviously a cartoon. Bruno specifically is one of the uncles who actually has a gift of foresight. So he could see things into the future. And so he saw things about the family that the grandmother and the rest of the family, but really the grandmother, who's the matriarch of the family, was very upset about and sort of shunned him away. And so nobody talks about Bruno. Like, we don't talk about Bruno. It's almost like he doesn't exist. You later find out where it is that he lives, and he doesn't live too far, so not to give away the movie, but he's still a very important part of the family, actually one of the most important parts of the family, because he had foresight and they really just didn't like what he said, and so he got shunned because of the visions that he had. So great movie, and thank you for allowing me to expand on that. But it is such a great movie, and it is so much deeper than just a cartoon, and it's also very catchy, and yes, it's just overall great. So did I tell you I liked Encanto?
Yeah. I mean,
can you tell?
I love that. I thought that We Don't Talk About Bruno was a song about that movie that Sacha Baron Cohen made, because it's just so awful. We don't talk about it.
Oh my god. Hateful movie. Hateful.
So
Liz, how
bad.
many times do you think you've watched Encanto since?
Oh gosh. And my kids are older, right? My youngest is 13. So at home, we've at least watched it 5 times. And then we finally got together with the extended family, and the number one request was to watch Encanto, and we watched it probably 2 or 3 times. It was just running in the background the whole time we were all together. So yeah, and having a total sing and dance fest the whole time.
Love it. So safe to say
that.
that you will be on board for their sing-along version that's coming out, I think, soon, or has come out. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming soon, I think.
It is coming
Yeah, I
soon.
think
Yeah.
it's coming up soon.
Scott, what are you hoping wins big this Sunday?
So I haven't actually seen this one yet, but I've only heard amazing things, mostly from you, but also from like other people. I think Coda, on principle alone, deserves all the awards. I think, authentic representation of marginalized communities is super, super important. So, and it 1000% deserves the platform that it has at the moment. But outside of that, Jessica Chastain as Tammy Faye, come on. Iconic.
Yeah, I think that was nominated for Best Hair and Makeup, I think, ironically.
It should be, because spot on. Seriously. I mean, she just looks like a completely different person, and she really, really nails Tammy Faye. So
I always love that, when you see these films that get nominated for hair and makeup or special effects or something like that, and you see Ryan Reynolds' movie Free Guy is nominated for an Oscar. You go to the Oscars destination, you see Free Guy, and you're like, what the hell did that get nominated for? It happens
food
every
on
single
set.
year. Right, exactly. Best catering.
Yeah.
wow.
But yeah, that's
not a big fan of Free Guy, David?
people loved Free Guy, but you don't think of it as a traditional Oscar nominated movie. And I think that happens every year where you see David Spade's Dickie Robertson former child star, some stupid, Ace Ventura has been nominated for an Oscar, and you're like, wow, because it had the best sound editing or whatever. Anyway, off on a tangent. You mentioned it already, Scott, but Coda, I'm really rooting hard for it. If you're not familiar with what it's about a young woman who's the only hearing member of a deaf family, and her struggles to keep her family's fishing business alive while pursuing her own dreams of attending Berklee College of Music. And as Scott mentioned, the film stars several deaf actors, including Marlee Matlin and Troy Katzur, who became the first deaf male actor to win the BAFTA, SAG, and Critics' Choice Awards for Supporting Actor. So I think if any movie upsets any of the big titles this year, it's going to be this one. It's getting a lot of momentum going into the Oscars. it's just such a wonderful feel-good movie. There's a moment at the end that had me absolutely ugly crying on my couch, like she said they're up at the balcony. Like it's just really, really got to me. And I'd also like to quickly plug the Norwegian movie The Worst Person in the World, which is nominated for Best International Feature Film. It's this really dark romantic comedy about a woman who essentially doesn't know what she wants in any aspect of her life, from her dating life to her professional life. It's a little bit different. If you don't mind reading subtitles, I think it's my favorite foreign film of 2021. So if you've seen everything or just want something different, I highly recommend that. Any other thoughts on the Oscars before we roll along?
I really am excited to see what everyone's wearing, all the music. Yeah, I'm excited for the fanfare of it all. So looking forward to it for sure.
Always a good time. And next, things are looking up, up, down, down, left, right, BA. Start in a segment called Trending. Gamers rejoice! Master Chief has finally made his jump from the small screen to, well, the small screen in the brand new Paramount Plus series Halo, which is based on the best-selling Xbox series of the same name. The series stars Orange is the New Black alum Pablo Schreiber as Master Chief, a super soldier leading humans in an epic war against an alien horde known as the Covenant. Let's take a quick look at a clip.
The Master Chief was enhanced and trained for one purpose: to win this war. He and the other Spartans are our only effective weapons against the Covenant. He is lethal, upgradable, and most importantly, controllable.
Covenant forces appear to be excavating some kind of object. When I touched the object, I felt something.
It's no secret that video game adaptations are having a moment with TV series like The Witcher, Castlevania, and the upcoming HBO Max series The Last of Us, as well as movies like Detective Pikachu, Mortal Kombat, Sonic the Hedgehog, and the recently released Tom Holland adventure Uncharted. So we thought we'd spend some time today looking back at some of our favorite video game adaptations of all time. And I'm still talking, and I'm going to kick things off with one of my childhood favorites, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which was on the air for only 3 months and 52 episodes at the end of 1989. It seemed like so much longer as a child. I felt like it ran for years, but it was really just September to December of 1989. This live action and animated series explored the expanded adventures of Brooklyn plumbers turned superheroes Mario and Luigi, who were, of course, the stars of their own video game series on the red-hot Nintendo Entertainment System. So at the time, this show was a rare combination of two things that I loved as a kid: professional wrestling and video games. Why? Because WWF Hall of Famer and iconic professional wrestler Captain Lou Albano, for some reason, played Mario in this show. And each episode switched back and forth between live action stories featuring Mario and Luigi, who was played by the Jeffersons actor Danny Wells, and will probably just be known as Luigi instead of anything else he did in his career. And then it would jump back and forth between these colorfully animated segments featuring the turtle stomping brothers. And every once in a while, the show would randomly feature an animated adventure with the stars of The Legend of Zelda. Like,
I was going to ask you about this because it was always teasing it like that was its own show, but there was never a show, right? It was just those clips.
As far as I know, it was just these little random, you never knew when they were going to pop up. They just suddenly had a Zelda bit, and it was awesome because Zelda, honestly, Zelda was so much cooler than Mario Brothers. All you wanted to do was see Link. It depends. I guess it depends on your age or what kind of games you were into. But
David, how dare you? How dare you?
There it is. So I have another little fun fact for you, Scott, because like the show was super, super weird. And all 52 episodes are available on X1 and Flex via Tubi, and I've been catching up on some of them. And there's a season 1 episode in which Mario and Luigi are randomly visited by Cher, someone playing Cher, and they're like, Cher's here.
Oh,
and
playing Cher?
Playing Cher, not real Cher, but like someone doing a really bad accent of Cher that almost sounds like some sort of like it sounded like they were doing a bad John Travolta impersonation. And Cher brings her dog because she has an emergency dimple appointment at the plastic surgeon's, and she leaves her dog there, and the dog accidentally swaps brains with Mario.
Wow.
So dumb, but
So
like
many questions. Why did it have to be Cher? Like that plot line
works with anyone.
it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel at all like related to Cher.
Right.
I know, like noted dog owner Cher. You could have gotten anyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this show also had an incredible theme song and closing theme.
You gonna give us a taste, David?
Yeah.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah. The opening of the show was the best, I would say. Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. If your singing's in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others. You'll be hooked on the brothers.
And that was the dance. This is all you needed to do. You didn't need to learn anything else.
This is the dance.
Oh my
Easy.
gosh. 3
Easy.
months, and look at the impression. Could you imagine if this ran any longer? I don't know. You may not be here today.
I think it honestly, I think it ran for longer. Like there's no, like, let's be honest. I was 5 years old when this actually aired. So there's no way. I mean, I have a pretty good
It's
memory,
the power of syndication, David. You know,
I
it's the
think
same
it ran
thing with
for
Hey
much
Dude and Salute Your Shorts. It's one of those things where it's like, as a kid, you thought this thing went on forever, but turns out it was just one season, and all they were doing was just playing repeats. You know?
over and over again. Yeah, until I was old enough to remember it. But maybe I remember it from when I was 5. Captain Lou Albano was still managing wrestling then. It's just, I don't even know how he got involved. I didn't have time to look it up. Brad, look up how Captain Lou Albano got involved in Super Mario Brothers.
Could we
Thanks,
address
Brad.
the fact that
Appreciate
you said
you.
2 things that you loved as a child the most
Yeah.
were video games and wrestling? So can you name 2 things that you love as an adult the most?
Wrestling and video games.
Kind of insane. I love it.
Yeah.
I love
the
it.
more things change, right?
Right. Right.
Liz, the video game show or movie that you recall fondly?
Yeah, fondly. It did not have the impact the same way that it did on you, David, but I remember watching Resident Evil and it being just one of those zombie movies that stuck with me for a very long time. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I knew at the time that it was based on a video game, right? Maybe after like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th movie within the franchise, somewhere along the way, maybe when I met my husband and he mentioned that it was part of a video game. I grew up in a house full of girls, and I'm not saying that girls don't game. There are tons of girl gamers. We just weren't, right? And so I was not a girl gamer and was not into anything until I met my husband, and I had to play him at Mortal Kombat and lose pretty badly. Now that I'm thinking back on that, I think that was on purpose. But anyway, Mila Jovovich, right? She is amazing in these movies. started off in 2002, and then every what was it, like every 2 or 3 years they were bringing out a new one. I mean, where's Rose when you talk about zombies, right? Like Rose and her zombie apocalypse, she loves those. So yeah, I just feel like it was, for me, one of the more, I guess, memorable zombie movies. And then Mila's a little bit of a badass in it too, so I enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I was a big fan of the Resident Evil games. So, when this
There you
movie
go.
came out, I was like super, super pumped, and then like a little upset that like Alice had nothing to do with the actual game storylines. But as the sequels proved, they really couldn't do much with the actual content from the games, and the characters that were actually from that world just kind of like fizzled a little bit. So they're better off just letting Mila do her thing and being crazy and fighting stuff and having superpowers and riding motorcycles or jumping from things. And really, she could just do whatever, and I think everybody would be happy and pay for that ticket.
Yes.
So, yes, let's go.
Those
For
games
sure.
were really like kind of frightening too. I mean, there was the little rah, they like rush at you right into the screen. No?
I don't know that it was scary. I mean, one of the things that I did love about the first film was that laser room. I don't know if you guys remembered it, where like they're trying to get to the vault or whatever, and then like the security system goes off, and all these lasers are going back and forth, and they like dice up this dude. Just like,
yes,
I've seen that before.
But it
Super
happened.
fun.
It's so sharp that it doesn't look like it happened, right? Like, so the head's still on, and then all of a sudden the head just like slides off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was good.
Which-
It was definitely good.
Which horror video game franchise am I thinking about then? What's a really scary PlayStation game from back in the day?
Oh, I mean, like the original Resident Evil was scary. They kind of went the route of being a little bit more action forward, if you will, or run and gun. But yeah, it was kind of like crazy cinematic camera angles for the original one. So it made it really hard to play, but at the same time, it was a little like, when someone would jump out at you, you'd be like, oh, okay. But
yeah, they'd pop out of nowhere. They'd come at you like out of the darkness.
Out of nowhere.
Well, they came out of somewhere, but it was darkness.
Yeah.
Brad thinks maybe it was Doom. It could have been Doom.
Oh,
Doom was also.
That's more
any of those
David's
shooter
like
games.
age range.
They could. Yeah, there we are.
Gotcha.
I love that we have a guy. We can just get anything you need to know. What do you need to know? We got a guy. You can get that for us.
If you got questions, drop them in the
Yeah, drop them here.
Brad will answer them for
We're
you.
ready for you, Brad.
Yeah, right.
Scott.
What about you, Scott?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. So this was a tough one for me because I love video games. And ultimately, it came down to this one choice that I came up with and the Tomb Raider movies with Angelina Jolie. Because, like, can you think of more perfect casting? Like, were the movies good? Absolutely not. Was I mad about it? No, not at all. I was like seeing one of my favorite game characters on the big screen, but sans code and bra, obviously. But yeah, I mean, are game movies like ever objectively good? No, they're not. I don't think so. I mean, I think people generally take one or two kind of perspectives on them. It's like you're either really mad that it doesn't follow the source material to like the T, or you're just happy to see one of your favorite like games in a different medium. So Mortal Kombat was very much that for me. It's like high camp at its finest, which always helps, obviously, when you're trying to make a silly game movie. I think it was largely successful because it was literally just fighters trying to make their way to this tournament where they all fight to the death. They weren't like trying to layer in any more substance than that. It was just a ridiculous premise, and that's it. Which, so, yeah, I'm just like take some badass fighters, give them a couple one-liners, and voila, instant cult classic. So, yeah. Also, Bridget Wilson and Sonia. Girl crush as a child. Looking back, I probably just wanted to be her, but you live, you learn, you get love. Yes, I just did a diaper
Bridget
out
Wilson.
here.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Total crush on Bridget Wilson as
Hottie,
Sonya.
seriously.
Yeah. That was the
Those
Mortal Kombat
denim Daisy Dukes. Yes.
Mortal Kombat was the first movie I think that I recall ever being allowed to skip school to go and see. And I did. And
Wait, what? The first movie? So that was a thing? You were allowed to skip school and go see movies?
I wasn't. I don't know why I was allowed to. I don't know why my mom allowed that.
Wow.
I don't know why she even allowed me to have this game. I specifically remember getting this for Sega and my mom being like, is this that like really violent one? And I think I said yes, but maybe I said no.
Nah, you were like
And I
totally
got it?
like
David's mom is an avid viewer, so
I
if
know.
you're watching, please write in, let Brad know if you in fact did let David cut school or if he did that on his own, because
Yeah.
we would really like to know.
It will
Brad,
take
can
her
you get
so
mom
long
on the
to type
phone?
out.
Can you just get her on the phone?
We'd have to, because it'll take her so long to type out a text that the show will be over by the time it gets here. But I did get that game and remember even being like, wow, this is like shockingly bloody, at the time, because you just didn't see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hence
I mean, I was
Mortal.
quite the feral child as a youth. So I used to hang out with all like the neighborhood kids and my brothers, and we would like choreograph fight sequences that may or may not have involved like throwing each other off of a roof. So if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to hurt you. But yeah, it's fine. Loved it. That's how much I loved this movie. So that's ultimately why I picked this one, because it had such an impact on my childhood. Throwing kids
Speaking
off
of like video games and like movies and stuff that were like such a departure, that Super Mario Brothers movie from the 90s, 92 maybe, with John Leguizamo.
John
as the
Leguizamo.
Luigi.
Yeah. Look how he's the
What a
only one that people
disappointment.
remember.
Right.
Bob Hoskins was Mario in that.
Who's that?
Bob Hoskins. He was in
What
Who
about
Framed
Bob,
Roger
David?
Rabbit. He was
Work, yes. Oh, and yeah, Dennis Hopper, right?
Dennis Hopper
Right.
as Bowser for some reason. And I think Yoshi was in it too, but he was just a straight up little like raptor, like straight out of Jurassic Park. Boy, that was
Yeah,
terrible.
so that's what I'm talking about. These people trying to give it more substance than it actually deserves. Just
Right.
give me the fluffy, round dinosaur thing that swallows stuff. That's what I want. I don't want a raptor. Like, let's go.
Yeah, give me Captain Lou Albano. Well, a real quick turn here now from this to our next segment. And we wonder, why is Michael Bolton singing songs for Connecticut? We will find out right now in a segment we're calling What We're Watching. Your new music competition obsession has arrived. Based on the wildly popular Eurovision Song Contest, the American Song Contest is a live 8-week event on NBC and features singers and songwriters representing all 50 states, 5 U.S. territories, and Washington, D.C., vying for the title of Best Original Song. Let's take a quick look at American Song Contest.
I'm born and bred Californian, straight up out the east side of LBC. It's in my bones, and it's in my music.
Y'all, I'm a Texas girl at heart, and we go big or we go home. And every musician in this country feels the same way about where they come from.
And that's what this competition is all about.
Every U.S. state and territory has an original song.
The country's best musical talent.
From the hottest new artist
I describe my sound as nouveau retro.
To legendary superstar.
I'm Michael Bolton, and I'm representing the state of Connecticut.
My name is Jewel, and I represent the best state, Alaska.
I'm Cisco, the dragon. Come fly with me.
So the concept here is very cool. Each state and territory is represented by a singer and songwriter or songwriters who have written an original song. And one of the things I love about this show is that it features a mix of artists most of us have never heard of, as well as several well-known stars, and they're all competing against each other on a level playing field. And among some of the established competitors are singer Jewel, representing Alaska, actor and singer Riker Lynch, representing Colorado, Michael Bolton, representing Connecticut, former voice winner Jordan Smith, representing Kentucky, thong song singer and rapper Cisco, representing the great state of Maryland, and Macy Gray, representing Ohio. Scott, did I miss anything, Liz, about the show or any of these singers you want to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of talk. You know, I'm a big fan of Eurovision, and I've lived overseas, so I've seen how people in England and in Australia, how they respond to the series and how they do these amazing watch parties and really get behind their country. So I watched the first episode of this, and it definitely follows that blueprint of Eurovision Song Contest. But actually, let me start over. Are you guys aware of how Eurovision started? Why it started? No. Right. So it was actually created to sort of help bring Europe together again after the war. So everything that's kind of going on in our world right now, you can sort of see why this is the right time to launch something like this. But I think, in my opinion, American Song Contest sort of lacks some of the heart of Eurovision. At least that's the impression that I got from the first episode. It's very pop forward. So Michael Bolton tried to bring some of that substance, I think, with his song, but it's nothing compared to, say, the 2016 winner of Eurovision, Jamala from Ukraine. Her song about the deportation of Crimeans by the Soviet regime, legit gives me chills every time I watch it. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you take a look. It's really, really amazing. But yeah, that's my big thing. Also, there were some singers, I think the Oklahoma K-pop singer, who was very clearly lip syncing. It's this is a song contest, so that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. Yeah. Thoughts? I know Liz watched it. David, you've watched some clips.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, are you saying that New Boot Goofin wasn't bringing the heart that you look for?
Okay, you know what? New Boot Goofin gave me the camp that I wanted from Eurovision, which is another aspect of it. There's sometimes, I don't know if you've actually dug into Eurovision and how it plays out. There are countries that will vote for other countries because they're friendly, and that's how they bolster up their votes. Because after you get so far, it's actually the other countries that are voting, not necessarily the people. So you have to kind of weigh in that way. So it gets really political. So for Jamala, that 2016 winner who did this really, really crazy song and taking a huge stance like that was incredible, and everyone got behind it. And you could just see the emotion that was running through her when she was singing it. So yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping to get out of this series. I haven't seen it yet. I'm still hopeful because there's many, many weeks left. I think 7 weeks left of this show. So we'll see if it comes. But yeah, New Boot Goofin. That's the camp that I love of Eurovision. So
I love that. And I love that story behind it, right? I think I didn't know that. And so now my expectations of the show are really different. I was watching it from a purely entertainment perspective and knowing that there was, a version called Eurovision on. And then there's Snoop, right? I mean,
Snoop is everything.
I was so excited to watch this because of Snoop, but I didn't even think about, it's so interesting that you say that, because I didn't even think about voting for my own state, right? It was who do I like the best? Or it felt like just a regular, not that this isn't, but a regular schmegular, singing competition, and it did not appear to have what you're saying is that sentiment behind it. So yeah, but it was entertaining-ish. Yeah,
totally. And I think that's the difference where the states are often compared to, I guess mostly because of the size, countries essentially, right? Because we've got so many here, they are basically the same size as some of the countries in Europe. But I don't think that we have that sort of called nationalism, like whatever like that for the states as you would for your own country, right? So I think that's where there's a little bit of a disconnect.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like each week for the first, I think 3 or 4 weeks, it's like this qualifiers more or less, or semifinals. So you're not seeing everyone every week. We got one group for this first week this week, and then another group next week. So for those first 4 weeks, you're getting all new singers every single week. And I am someone who is certainly pulling for my home state. I will be voting for the state of Pennsylvania and Philadelphia singer and rapper Bree Steves, who is representing the state. She made headlines in 2018 when she took the stage to perform her song Jealousy with Kendrick Lamar at Philly's Made in America Festival. Bree was born in the East Falls neighborhood of Philadelphia. She attended Temple University, and she recently released a new EP entitled TBH. And I'm just really excited to see what she can do. And I think it would be really interesting to see where her votes come from. Like, are we pulling in some like South Jersey? Are we getting some Delaware? Like, is it all Pennsylvania, or like just Eastern Pennsylvania, or will like the Western Pennsylvania
the tri-state area, David? The tri-state area.
That's to distill it down very briefly. Yes, the tri-state area is what you're referring to. But we don't know. I think I was looking at, we don't know what her song is yet, or what it sounds like, but that's like part of the fun, I think, is you can see who's singing, but don't know what they have coming up. And interesting to see how something like Bree's song stacks up against New Boot Goofin' by Ryan Charles.
You can't beat New Boot Goofin', David. You can't beat
or a song by Michael Bolton. Like, I think it's a really cool showcase for some of these young singer songwriters or unknown singer songwriters. And I had seen someone on TikTok, I think it's the singer who represents New Jersey, and I saw her post her like reaction to the acceptance letter when she got picked to represent New Jersey. And it would be cool if people really got behind their own states and started voting. But I think you're right. It's not this. People don't quite feel the same amount of state pride. At least not up here. Maybe in the South.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's make it happen, guys.
I don't know.
Let's do it.
Liz, do you have a one singer songwriter you are rooting for?
Yeah, it's not Pennsylvania, because that's who you chose. But I'm still gonna vote for Bree for sure. Gonna vote for Bree. But after the first episode. Because listen, I'm not going in there and researching all of these people that I don't know, honestly, other than like the Michael Boltons and the Jewels of the world. Like, I did not know about these smaller indie bands. And so Yam House they were the very first to perform. And they're from Minnesota, a bunch of guys. And what I loved the most about it is we were watching, we were very excited to watch the show, my family and I. So we were all sitting by the TV, like waiting. We don't get to do that very often, right? Like, it's 8:00, like live TV. I think what we were most excited about was that this song, Ready to Go, I think that was the name of it. It just felt like a song that we could or should be hearing on the radio right now. So to us, I think that was what really got us right away. It was very, catchy and poppy, and just something that I think that they looked like they were having a really great time. And I think just a song that everybody could get behind. So they had my vote. They had my vote that first night. Pennsylvania did not perform yet, so they had my vote that first night. So yeah, excited to watch this and see who else voted for Yam House.
I'm gonna
what about you, Scott? Or do you like Yam House? Yeah, I know. I know.
They definitely brought the energy to open up a show like this. It's like not a small task, right? You're a relatively unknown band from Minnesota, and you're going to open up a huge singing contest. Can't imagine what they were thinking. But yeah, my artist is actually from Texas. I have no affinity to Texas apart from the fact that like my cousin lives there. But yeah, His name is Grant Kanoki, not Kanosh or Ganache or Pinocchio. So I've been listening to this kid for a while. He's just falling. He's falling. Alicia Keys. So yeah, I've been listening to him for a while now. Voice of an Angel, I tell you. His song "Sorry for the Honesty" is a proper vibe. Definitely check it out if you're mad at someone. And, just my bad. Sorry for the honesty. So good, so good. But yeah, he was a former Kids Bop star, which all the best talent comes out of Kids Bop. But more impressive is that he's a self-taught musician who started writing and producing at the age of 11. And then adding insult to injury, he can dance too. Like, girl, calm down. When I was 11, I took up, the harmonica because I was obsessed with Alanis Morissette, but I quickly gave that up when I realized it was more than just chaotically blowing into it. So yeah, I like the fact that he can do all that at age 11 is just incredible. But he's 19 now. And yeah, I think he's gonna go pretty far in this competition. He really does have all of the goods to make a good pop artist, I guess. He mentioned his song on his Instagram the other day. I didn't pay too close attention to it. It's not something that's been released yet, so I'm not familiar with it. So curious to see how he goes, but we'll see.
It's no new boot goofing, but we'll see.
David, you can't beat new boot goofing. I feel like
now everyone has to watch just to watch it. Just to watch
to see new boot goofing. No.
Yes.
I mean, it's got the Old Town Road vibe, but
meets Post Malone. I felt like he looked very Post Maloney. Yeah, not that that's a thing.
Definitely.
I know. Post Maloney.
Well, I don't know. We're just making stuff up.
We sort of mentioned that American Song Contest is hosted by Snoop Dogg and Kelly Clarkson, and NBC actually sent us some very funny outtakes from the set to share with the What to Watch Live audience. So let's check that out real quick.
3 to Kelly, 2.
Snoop and Kelly here. It didn't start.
Y'all should have told me I was coming to the mountains. Where am I?
The mountains.
I'm like, damn, am I in Colorado? Hold on, what we done went to the Smurfs?
To the gym.
It look like we at Papa Smurf house now.
I want to be where you are right now.
Now I want to look good behind you on that one.
Okay, just be. You're all excited. You don't have to read it.
This is my dancing moment, Kelly. You can get my dance on. Oh God, I lost my vision and I just needed a little bit bigger because them letters don't fit my opticals. I still love you, even though you got a class early. Get out of here with your early pass. You get a hall pass before me?
Oh, stop.
Liz, I'll do my Snoop dance if you do your Kelly impression. No?
Oh, you're really going to do it to her?
No, it's fine. I'm not going to put her on the spot
Kelly.
like that.
We love NBC.
It's very funny. They're very funny together, and talk about people having a moment. Snoop has had this resurgence outside of music where everything he touches, from commentating football to the Olympics coverage that he was doing to this, he's just absolute gold. Everything he touches is funny and cool. Ugh,
he's a smooth
so jealous.
dude. Yeah,
he really is.
He's chill.
Oh, I have to work so hard at even a fraction of that.
What's that?
And before we say goodbye for the week, as always, we're here to help you plan your watch list with a segment called Plan Ahead. In this week's premieres, we journey back to sexy, scandalous ye olde England, introduce you to your new true crime obsession, explore one of Marvel's more obscure superheroes, and step back into the kitchen with one of the world's most famous chefs. Scott, tell us more about it.
Up first, we have the highly anticipated return of Netflix's wildly popular period drama, Bridgerton. Fans of the series will be happy to hear that the new season is doubling down on all the things you loved the first time around: juicy drama, glamorous gowns, and steamy love connections. And just to shake things up even more in Regency-era London, we have the debut of the Sharma family, its matriarch Mary, and her daughters Kate and Edwina. All episodes of Season 2 drop March 25th on Netflix. Over on Apple TV Plus, we have the premiere of Min Jin Lee's multi-generational Korean drama, Pachinko. The series follows the hopes and dreams of 4 generations of a Korean immigrant family, beginning with the story of a forbidden romance that leads to a sweeping saga taking place in Korea, Japan, and America. Over its 8-episode run, the trilingual drama treats its viewers to a lesson in Korean history and identity, and is already being described by many critics as one of the best shows of 2022. Seeing as we're only in March, that's a pretty big claim. On March 25th, you can watch the first 3 episodes and decide for yourself. Check it out on Apple TV+. On March 29th, Hulu premieres The Girl from Plainville, making it the latest in a long line of ripped from the headlines miniseries. Elle Fanning stars as Michelle Carter, the Massachusetts teen who was convicted of involuntary manslaughter for texts encouraging the suicide of her boyfriend Conrad Roy. The true story explores the 2 teens' relationships, the events leading up to Conrad's death, and later Michelle's conviction of involuntary manslaughter. If you're in the mood for a thoughtful and interesting take on a well-tread dramatization formula, check out The Girl from Plainville on Hulu, March 29th. March 30th, Disney Plus adds another Marvel legend to its roster with Moon Knight. The series follows Stephen Grant, a pretty chill gift shop employee at a London museum who becomes plagued with blackouts and memories of another life. Our boy Stephen soon discovers he has a dissociative identity disorder and shares a body with mercenary Mark Spector, a former US Marine who has been given supernatural abilities by an Egyptian moon god. I mean, I'm already confused, but also kind of intrigued. You can check out this wild ride March 30th on Disney+. Rounding out March, we have Julia, which lands on HBO Max March 31st. Julia, as the name would imply, explores the life of the iconic television chef Julia Child, who pioneered the cooking show genre. I mean, what other Julia did you think I was talking about? This 8-episode biodramedy hones in on the earliest days of the French chef, exclusively covering the first season of the show within the show, leaving plenty of room for a potential second season. You can watch Julia on HBO Max starting March 31st.
And in this week's finales, we say farewell to M. Night Shyamalan's family thriller, John Hodgman's animated mystery series, and the Fresh Prince of a reimagined Bel-Air. Liz, what you got for us?
All right, and now on to the finales. Make sure you grab your favorite beverage and snack, and we'll get started on March 25th with The Servant on Apple TV. In case you've missed it, this is a psychological thriller that has followed a couple who is mourning a life-changing tragedy and hired a live-in nanny. Now, the series has taken massive turns and twists, and it's equal parts creepy and addictive. So if you haven't caught up, make sure you do, because this finale, I'm sure, will leave us on the edge of our seats as only M. Night Shyamalan does. The Servant on Apple TV, March 25th. On March 27th, on the CW, we're going to finale March. This has been the limited docuseries that follows Marching Storm. That's the marching band at Prairie View A&M. You'll catch all the highly competitive and stressful rehearsals, practices, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into being one of the very best marching bands. Again, that's March on the CW on March 27th. On March 29th, we have the finale of Promised Land. Now, this series started on ABC and then moved over to Hulu. And this is a story about 2 Latino families and their pursuit for power and money and ownership over the same American dream. You won't want to miss this. Promised Land, again, it is now on Hulu on March 29th. On March 31st on FXX, we have Dicktown. This is an animated series that has followed an unlikely pair of detectives who have been trying to solve those very important mysteries of their town, Dicktown, or AKA Richardsville, North Carolina. You won't want to miss this season finale or catch up on the whole series. Again, this is Dicktown FXX, March 31st. And we're going to round out the week on March 31st with Bel-Air, this Peacock original. Follows Will Smith, played by Jabari Banks, as he walks through and gets to go live with his auntie and uncle in Bel-Air from West Philadelphia. You won't want to miss this Peacock original finale, Bel-Air, on March 31st.
And if you're looking for a tease of what's coming a little further out, Stephen Merchant's new comedy, The Outlaws, premieres on Prime Video April 1st. Gary Oldman's spy thriller, Slow Horses, drops on Apple TV Plus April 1st. WrestleMania 38 is live on Peacock for 2 big nights of action, April 2nd and 3rd. A new survival series called Mud, Sweat, and Beards premieres on USA April 4th. The Hardy Boys returns for a second season on April 6th. And a new crime drama called Tokyo Vice drops on HBO Max on April 7th. Why'd you stop it? I was ready to go with Landon's Halo the whole way
I
through.
didn't know. I couldn't feel the vibe. I wasn't sure if it was throwing you off or not, but
I was ready to push through. So that will do it for today's show. I'd like to thank my fellow Xfinity editors Scott and Liz for joining me this week. Thanks to our producers Brad and Aaron and everyone else behind the scenes for making the show tick and Googling stupid things when we ask for it. And if you want to check out the TV shows and movies we talked about today, get more of our entertainment recommendations, or watch us interview big celebrities, just say what to watch into your voice remote or tune in here every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern for a new episode. 1 p.m., give or take 20 minutes,
Ish.
Brad.
Yeah. 1 p.m.
My name is David. Thanks for joining us on What to Watch Live.
Bye.